Tim Gordon is with us now, and I want to make sure that we have a conversation with him because he's talking about one of my favorite, which is movies. I've found all kinds of ways to watch movies, but I'm glad that you're here. You're the executive director and founder of the Foundation for the Augmentation of African Americans in Film and creator of the Black Reel Awards. Now, wait a minute. Let's go back to this. Augmentation of African Americans in Film. What does that mean, Tim?
Well, it's funny. When we initially launched the foundation back in 2004, it was called the Foundation for the Advancement of African American in Film. So after we went through about almost 10 years, we decided that we had advanced properly with our projects and what we'd been doing in film and how film had advanced. It was time now to start augmenting and adding pieces, which we've successfully done since 2015. So it, necessitated that we change the name at that point. So to kind of align with our new mission. So that's what the augmentation came from in FAF.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So now, since now we have the Black Reel Awards, and that's REEL,
Yes,
not
ma'am.
Reel, but Black Reel Awards. And you founded that as well.
Back in 2000. Prior to that, I was always a kid who grew up in loving movies like you as well. And I would always watch award shows. I'd watch the Oscars and the Golden Globes and some of these other high profile shows. And in the 80s and 90s, I would never see a lot of people who looked like you and I. We would be sporadically sprinkled. And kind of like maybe a decade later, it dawned on me. I said, somebody's got to do something about that, because I knew we had the Image Awards, and I knew there was another show that was Hollywood-based called The Tree of Life that happened every year, the night before the Oscars, where, they would kind of take all of the Black folks who were nominated in a particular year and kind of have a celebration for them. But I knew we needed to have a show that sort of mirrored what the Academy Awards and Golden Globes were doing. And when I looked in the mirror and said that somebody needs to come up with that concept, I said, hey, I guess I'm that somebody. So in 1999, we worked on it. We launched it in 2000. And, Denise, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. When we first started, the renaissance of African-American film or Black film that exists now did not exist in 2000.
Yeah.
So the first 4 or 5 years, it was rocky, and people would always come to us and go, well, why are you guys honoring these films? And I'm like, these are the films that are out right now. I mean, that's all we can do is honor what's there.
Mm-hmm.
But over the last decade, it has grown leaps and bounds, and it has grown so much so that initially we combined our film and television awards, sort of like the Golden Globes. And a member of my team, Cordell Martin, who's now our nominating chair, came to me and said, I think the time has come that we need to spin off and create another show that's sort of like the Emmys for African Americans. So the Black Reel Television Awards were born in 2017. So we're going into our 7th year of that show and our 23rd year of the Black Reel Awards.
Wow. So, I mean, there's so much I could really ask you about because you're talking about what, the kinds of films that were available then. Now it seems like, is it becoming more difficult? I mean, how do you determine what's a Black film? Let me ask that question.
Well, I think one of the first things we thought of was what the criteria would be, where we wanted to make sure we had something that was very static so that, we wouldn't waver like a branch in the wind every year. So pretty much our definition is any film that is produced, directed, executive produced, written, or coming from what we call a Black POV, a Black point of view. So for instance, a film like Ray, that was directed by Taylor Hackford about 15 or 20 years ago, was a film that would count as a film that we would honor, despite the fact that the director was white, but everybody else behind the camera, or there were some key people, including Ray Charles when he was still alive, who were a producer on that film. So it doesn't necessarily necessitate that every film has to be directed by an African-American, but we believe in participation in what we call above and below the line. Actors on screen, African-Americans or people of color behind the scene.
Interesting. Okay, because a lot of times people look at black films and they say, "Oh, this white person did this or whatever," and it's really not a black film. Um, but that's why I thought it would be interesting to know how you all define a black film. And then also, I'm finding now, I don't know the term, so you have to help me out here. But we've gone from that, which everybody knew was blaxploitation films once upon a time, right? So now it seems like we're seeing a lot of films based off of true life stories, right? And
You're talking about biopics.
biopics, exactly.
Right.
I mean, where are we right now with the categories of films that you all recognize in awards? What are those categories, and
Well,
how
I
have they
think,
changed?
are you specifically talking about genres, right? So
Exactly,
we
right.
have, I have a team of people who at the beginning of every year kind of, we anticipate, we look through the schedule of films that are coming that year, and it's always not necessarily concrete because, for an example, I'm at Sundance right now. There may be some films that will play at a festival like a Sundance or a Toronto later on in the year or any other major festival that can be added to what the major studios are doing, right? So you start off looking at what the studios have on their slate for any given year. And then throughout the year, you tweak, you look at, as I said, we find other work that's out there. But that's sort of how, like, the building of what we're going to, that the films that are going to be eligible later in the year, that process starts like now. That we are looking at films, whether it's directors, whether it's actors, whether it's, as we talked about earlier, who's producing films this year, what films are coming out. So it's a very long process, and we do it both for film and television. But to answer your other question about when you were talking about biopics, you have some of those coming out this year. Later on this year, there's a Shirley Chisholm biopic called Shirley coming from Netflix that Regina King's going to star in. You also have the Bayard Rustin story, which Coleman Domingo is going to be playing the title character. I'm sure there's several other films that off the top of my head, I can't really figure out because there's so much work, not just in films now, but we also look at the streaming platforms of
Right.
what's coming from Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and some of these other platforms.
It's it's like the well is nowhere close to running dry for films that are for us and about us, and that's fantastic. When is the Black Reel Awards? When is that going to take place, and where?
The 23rd annual Black Reel Awards will take place virtually on Monday, February the 6th at 8 p.m. For people who want to watch this show, which is going to be very, very, we're in the process because I'm behind the scenes of knowing what's coming. It's going to be a big show that's going to be broadcast on Black Reel Awards TV, right, at 8 p.m. This year, we're going to be honoring all women. So we have 4 special honorees that we have within our show every year. We have one award that honors Oscar Micheaux, Deborah Martin Chase, the producer who worked with Whitney Houston and Denzel Washington's production companies. She's going to be recipient of the Oscar Micheaux the Oscar Micheaux Memorial Award this year. Angela Bassett will be honored with the Sidney Poitier Trailblazer Award this year. Kerry Washington is going to be the recipient of the Ruby D Humanitarian Award. And producer Effie Brown, whose film The Inspection is a nominee this year, is going to be the recipient of the Vanguard Award for Executive of the Year.
It sounds really, really exciting. This is February the 6th, you said, right?
Monday, February the 6th.
Monday, and how can folks watch it again?
They can go to Black Reel Awards, and that's REEL awards.com. And the show will launch at 8 p.m. We'll probably have a pre-show that'll happen an hour before. So it's going to be an exciting night. There are lots of nominees. I think both Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, as well as The Woman King, each are nominated for 14 awards. I know Till is nominated for 11. And I'm leaving another. And Devotion, I think is nominated for 10 Black Reel Awards this year. And also, before I get out of here, Denise, we're also unveiling the new statuette, which we unveiled a new statuette last year, which was the statuette that all of the winners get. But now we've unveiled recently in the trades a picture of the special honoree statuette, which comes with a platinum base. So it's very
Wow.
beautiful piece of art that we hope that these winners and honorees get to put in their homes and present. So we are very, very excited about the direction that the Black Reel Awards continues to kind of surge upward.
Tim, how does the voting take place? I mean, how you mentioned the nominations, but who votes?
Good question. If you go to blackreelawards.com, there's a section on our site called our Black Reel Award Voting Academy. We have film critics, actors, producers. So I guess the easiest way to explain it is that there are members on our voting academy who are members of the nation's largest critics association, which is the Critics' Choice Association. We have Oscar winners, we have Grammy Award winners, we have Tony Award winner, we have, Image Award winners. We have a really what I call serious and very credible list of voters that we make public. So there's no kind of, I don't know how does it happen? Who are these people? These people. If you go to the site, you'll see what I'm talking about.
And how's sponsorship been?
Sponsorship is on the uptick. I know this year we've added a couple. We actually had Adobe Radio Network as a sponsor last year. We've just brought in a company from Tanzania that is very excited to partner and kind of expand our reach over into East Africa. So we're very excited about that. And we're talking to some other sponsors that those announcements will be forthcoming, which probably won't impact this year's awards, but we're looking at 2024 and beyond.
And is that, mentioning East Africa, are there international films as well that are considered?
We have several international categories, including Best International Film. And the other shocking thing to me, which we didn't kind of anticipate, but sort of happened, we had viewership last year for our show in over 18 countries outside of the United States.
Wow.
And we anticipate that will continue to grow as well, because Black culture is not just here in America, but Black culture is around the globe. And that's what I think people are picking up on, the fact that we're an organization that has been honoring African Americans and people of color. And as I told you earlier, I think we're on the upswing, and our audience outside of the United States, as I said, continues to reflect that, and we continue to grow.
So I know you got to go because you have movies to go watch. So I'm not going to hold you much longer.
I got time for you.
Oh, good. I appreciate that, because the other thing is that, this is my cell phone, right? And so a lot of people now can actually create films, right? Just on these devices, little independent films. How do are they recognized? I don't mean anybody, you know what I'm saying, but smaller independent local filmmakers who are aspiring to the big screen. Do you recognize any of them, or any of them will any of them be recognized at the Reel Awards?
Well,
what is the size of your
No, I was going to say we have a category for independent films, but a lot of the independent films are films that are either, that's the best way to explain it, that, for instance, The Inspection, which is nominated this year, is looked at as an independent film because of a certain budget, which we've never really determined what the budget, but we sort of know that this is the difference between a big, huge studio film and an independent film. The other mechanism that we use to honor independent film is through our film festival that is going into its fourth year. That's here in Washington, D.C. This year's Light Reel Award Film Festival will be the 7th through the 10th of June. And we anticipate that we will have it in the Union Market area. You and I talked a little bit about this before the show.
Right.
But we are very excited about the possibilities of using and leveraging the celebrity that we have at the Black Reel Awards and bringing some of that aspect to our film festival here locally. We have some fine film festivals in the city, and I happen to know several of the festival directors personally, but I just have a different vision and more in alignment with what we're doing with the Black Reel Awards that I want to bring to the city as it relates to a film festival in town. You know, I'm out here at Sundance. I'm inspired by that. I go out to the Toronto International Film Fest. I'm inspired by that. So I want to get the community very excited about seeing films that are going to be BIPOC films, because our vision there is that we're honoring films of people of color. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of going to be the focus of the Light Reel Film Festival.
So if I produce the film, let's say it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever, a short film, mm-hmm. and something I might want to enter into, you know, not the Black Reel Awards, but the what you're going to do in June, the Light Reel event. How would I do that?
We have a site on Film Freeway. If you go to Film Freeway and search for the Light Reel Film Festival, it has all our information. We're taking submissions through March. So submissions are going on right now for that festival, and all the information you need in order to get your film uploaded, to get it submitted. We have it all right there.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Anything else you want to share with us, Tim? Because all of this sounds good. I'm getting ready to start making my popcorn now, so I can sneak it into the theater and start watching.
I think the only thing I would say is that the Black Reel Awards is kind of, you know, we talk about a passion project. That's something that I started, and as I told you at the beginning or the onset of this conversation, I remember vividly what it was like in the early years, and to know where we have come, how far we've come. You know, since we're doing a virtual show, you know, we have people that record with us virtually, and there are times that I almost have to pinch myself and go, man, that person's a part of our show now. So, you know, we had Lawrence Fishburne we honored last year, Halle Berry, Nate Moore, the highest ranking African American at Marvel, Chaz Ebert and Suzanne DePass all were honored last year.
Wow. Nice.
So again, like I said, I'm just very thankful. I'm very grateful for the support that the community has given us, as well as the divine intervention from the good Lord, because, you know, I just had a vision. I'm just following the plan.
Well, I want to say in closing, which has maybe a lot to do with this or nothing to do with this, but you said proudly a little bit earlier that you're a Firebird.
UDC. I walk those hallways. You can be great if you were at UDC.
That's right. That's right. I just want to throw that in there. We just honored the president, Ron Mason, on Monday. I know he's retiring, but I think that's one of the things he's tried to say, that there's greatness that comes out of the University of the District of Columbia, and you fit that category. So I just wanted to get that in before we said goodbye.
Well, Denise, I appreciate you and the support that through the years. It's funny, I was looking at a show that we had at the French Embassy, and I said, "Oh, there's Denise." I've seen some pictures. You were there.
All right.
So,
good. Yeah.
Yes, you were. So, as I said, thank you. You've always been a supporter, and I'm very proud of what you've built and the family your family has built. So I'm just honored to be here with you this afternoon.
Well, likewise, you keep the dream alive. So thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy Utah, enjoy, you know, the film festival where you are. And we look forward to seeing and coming to the event in June. So we're going to keep our viewers informed about that as well. You bring in greatness to DC. So we appreciate it.
Denise, thank you.